Hi, students and parents. For those of you that couldn't attend the dual credit night, I wanted to put together a PowerPoint and just kind of walk through it with you for about any dual credits, and I'll put it on my page so that any future people can look there. So I would like to, without further ado, I would like to share with you a PowerPoint and walk through it with you about any general questions that people may tend to have, and hopefully answer any questions about what the dual credit program is about. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen. And then we will look at the PowerPoint together. Slideshow. Start from beginning. Okay, so we're going to learn about the PowerPoint today. Dual credit classes today. What are they exactly? Well, it's universities and technical schools. All the 6 South Dakota Board of Regents institutions listed there, and all 4 of the technical institutions listed there offer credit for high school and for their post-secondary education. General education requirements and technical career CTE courses are generally what the courses that you end up taking, just so that the classes that you do take are what you will end up taking post-secondary, so after high school. So there are different applications for South Dakota Board of Regents. So those are the 6 ones listed right above here, the BHSU, SDSU, USD, those 6. And then the technical schools as listed above as well. There are different applications for those, and I will show you where those applications are on my website. So the location is online, which means a lot of things for you, meaning you kind of have to talk to the teacher via email instead of in person, which can be a little bit difficult, but we definitely can do it together. A lot of the times I will have students ask me, like, how do I approach this teacher? Can you read through this email for me? Absolutely, no problem. The only thing I can't do is directly contact the professor for you, and that's really for your protection as well. So we will talk to the professor together, or I usually just sit in the background and kind of whisper to you, like, this is what I would say, or we write down what we would want to say before we make the phone call. But I'm absolutely there to help. So from universities and tech schools, we usually go through South Dakota schools, because majority of students from Viborg-Hurley will go to a South Dakota school. That doesn't mean other schools are not available, but these are the ones we tend to go through. Next slide. What is a dual credit? Well, a dual credit really just means you're hitting 2 birds, 1 stone. It's an opportunity for high school students to enroll in public post-secondary institutions in South Dakota and also earn high school diploma credits. So college credits and high school credits. So I put it down here. Students will earn both high school credits and dual college credits. So that's the dual credit thing. So there's 2 different credits, 2 birds, 1 stone. It's a great program. Courses offered are governed by the institution's policies of admissions, registration, billing, and grade reporting. So all of that is separate from Viborg-Hurley School District. So a lot of it is we're here to help you, and we can kind of talk with the people with you, but it's not directly with us. So this is a program that is available to 11th and 12th grade students. Requirements to enroll in these courses. For seniors, for the South Dakota Board of Regents, meaning all of the colleges, state universities, for seniors, you have to be either in the upper half class part of your class. So if you're like 51st% highest in your class, then that works. Anything above that, you can be like the 91st percentile of your class, then perfect. Or see that, or that's huge. It's either that, or you can get an ACT score of 21, or, and this is the one most people end up using, is their GPA has to be a 3.25 or higher. So it's one of those 3. So maybe your GPA is much lower, but you got a high ACT score, then you're still eligible to take dual credit courses. Now for juniors, it's a little bit more difficult to get into dual credit courses. More so, we just want, because we want you to be successful. And it's not even Viber Curly. This is state requirements. They will not allow you to take dual credits unless you are one of these three things. If you're a junior, you have to be ranked in the upper third of your class, or obtain an ACT score of at least a 24 or higher, or you have a current GPA of a 3.5 or higher. Now, this is just for the universities. For the tech schools, there is no requirement, but as an advisor for you for post-secondary education, if you're going to go into a technical school, I want to make sure that you are dead set on what career you're going into, so that we don't enroll you in classes that will cost you money and then won't work for your future. So we want to make sure that it's something definitely a good fit for you. And that happens, and some juniors do know exactly what they want to do. A lot of them do not. So my general rule of thumb is, unless you know exactly what program you're wanting to go into at a tech school, don't enroll in any tech school courses. That's just a general rule of thumb, just to help you out. So this is a really huge benefit. The cost of dual credit courses is $48.33 per credit, plus, of course, your book fees. You have to then purchase a book, or maybe sometimes there's an online book, or there might be some money besides the $48.33 per credit. And a typical college class is 3 credits. So that would mean like roughly $150. And that the students are responsible for this cost and required textbooks and any related material. In comparison, college students are paying like $200 per credit. So you're paying $150 for a course, whereas a college student would be paying $600 for that course. That is a huge bargain. Oh, and that is just if it would be at a tech school. If it was at a public university, that would you would be paying $150, plus you're staying at home, eating your parents' food. Nice. And the college university student would be paying $900 for that same course. So it is a steal. $150 versus $900. Huge deal. The book amounts are always the same, but we tend to try to have you buy them on Amazon instead of on the school's bookstores, because it's cheaper. So I'll work with you there and kind of get you the best bargain that you can get. Students are billed directly from the college and technical institution from which the credit was registered. Depending on the institution, some bills may be issued electronically or by mail. I want to make it very clear that the billing does not occur through Viber Curly High School. It will be directly from them, and they'll give you information as to how to fill out or how to pay your bill. And I have plenty of students ask me every year, like, where do I go and pay my bill? And I can help walk you through that as well. Transferability of credits. It's a huge deal. Like, what if you go to like NDSU? Are those credits going to transfer? Well, we don't know. One way to find out is if you want to go out of state or private college, you might want to double check to see if those credits are transferable. So if you click this, and I will have this on my website, or I have it on my website currently, you can click that, and then you can see if any of those credits transfer. Also, you can always directly contact your school, call them, and check to see, are any of these credits transferable that I have. If you are thinking about going to an out-of-state college or technical school, then this is something that we'll want to do earlier than later, just so that we can get you set up with the correct courses that can be transferred. So students must understand that there is definitely a possibility that their future college or technical institute may not accept their dual credit courses outside of the 6 South Dakota Border Regions classes or universities. and it's a student's responsibility to inquire about the transfer of credits. So you can either talk to your advisor from your future school, or talk to me, and then we can kind of figure out who to contact from there. Like if you're going to go to Harvard, we're probably going to we're going to contact Harvard, talk to them, see if any of the credits will transfer. Majority that's an Ivy League school. They would probably say no, none of those credits do transfer. Some of them may, who knows, but it's worth a phone call, definitely, because we're spending money on this, right? So we don't want to like walk in and not be prepared. So I'm here to help you be as prepared as possible. Academic achievement. Students must understand that college coursework with a grade lower than a D may warrant them to be placed on academic probation when entering their college or post-secondary institution of choice. So if you're not ready for dual credits, it's okay. Wait until college. Some people just do not like taking a course where you're not in front of a professor. I don't. I'd prefer to be with a professor in front of me. But I also, that being said, did take college bearing credits when I was in high school because I wanted to save money and I wanted to alleviate my workload when I got to college. Now, grades definitely will be recorded on the student's high school transcript only after we receive the official grade report from that school. So like USD will send us a transcript saying, okay, that your so-and-so student has gotten an A, B, C, D, whatever in that course, and then we put it on your transcript after that point, and only after that point. We will only know, and then I put this in here a little bit, we will only know your general grades when you give us your weekly progress in study hall. So your study hall teachers will check weekly where you are at, more so not because of the grade, but we want to see, like, are you still in the class? Are you struggling? If you're struggling, then like you can come talk to me, and we want to know and help you. This is only just to help you. So we want to like check in on you to see if there's anything that we can do, if there's any conflict between you and your professor and you just haven't been able to get a hold of them. That happens, and we just want to be there for you. So a weekly check-in just for your benefit. Now, college grades posted to your college transcript will automatically transfer to any of the South Dakota Board of Regents. So all those 6 South Dakota Board of Regents schools, all of their transcripts are connected. So let's say, for instance, I took credits from BHSU one summer. One summer I took credits from USD, and then I went to SDSU for a majority of my classes for undergrad. And all of those credits are all on the same transcript. So I would just call SDSU and they would give me one transcript at the end. So college GPA, it does affect your college GPA because it's a college class, right? So the grade received will be used in the calculation of their unweighted GPA at the post-secondary level. Example, if you get an A, you get a 4.0. B, you get a 3.0. C, you get a 2.0. D, you get a 1.0. Your impact on future financial aid. And I have more of a story to go along with this. So students must understand that there is a possibility that their eligibility to obtain student federal financial aid in the future may be impacted by their participation in dual credit coursework. Let me soak that in for you. An example is a student who cannot take 12 college credits, which is just the minimum to be a full-time student. For instance, this happens a lot at a tech school where it's like a 2-year program. A lot of them are 2-year programs, maybe sometimes 1-year program or a 1.5-year program, where it's a set schedule. Where in the fall you have to take these certain classes, in the spring you have to take these certain classes, and it's sequential classes. Well, what if you took a lot of dual credit courses, but they were all fall dual credit courses? Well, all of a sudden now you're going into your freshman year of post-secondary education, and you can only take 3 credits worth of what they're forcing you to take, and you have no other options but to be a part-time student because you don't have enough credits to take a full-time loan. So no worries on that. So I have it clear there. Don't worry. If we talk to me, we will make sure that this doesn't happen. I've made plenty of phone calls to the tech schools and talked with your student or with you as a student and made sure that it worked with your future career plans. And last night, if you missed it, the USD advisor mentioned that if you're going into a nursing program, there is a 4 sequential class. So like fall, spring, 4 different classes that you would have to take in a row. And if you took maybe and a lot of people tend to do this, if they're going to take dual credit classes, they're like, go big or go home. I'm going to take as many as I can. I'm going to get a whole year out of the way. But if they're going into like a nursing program or a program similar to that, there are certain classes that have to be taken at a certain time. And so on a case-by-case basis, we need to make sure that you can still be considered a full-time student. And that's something that's a one-on-one basis that you can talk with me, and I'm here for you to do. And absolutely, and all your grades are key. These are going to follow you to your college. So we want to make sure that you get good grades in these classes. If there's any questions on this, absolutely talk to me. It's a case-by-case scenario, and we do our best to make sure that you will never not be a full-time student, because then your FAFSA would be all messed up, and then the government won't give you loans that way. You'd have to get private loans, or then get like a part-time job or something. So I do my best to make sure that you, especially with tech school students, that you take so many courses. And I have a strategy for it, so you don't have to worry about what the strategy necessarily is. But I've talked to enough tech school people, advisors, that I know how to work around it so you are continually a full-time student so you can get financial aid. Next slide. NCAA eligibility. Here's a big one. If students intend to become a certified by the NCAA clearinghouse, dual credit coursework could have an impact on scholarship eligibility. Students are highly encouraged to discuss this with a high school athletic director, school counselor, or the college itself to ensure eligibility is not compromised. There has been conflict between accepting dual credit courses as required coursework towards graduation under NCAA rules and regulations. Now, I always put into the NCAA Eligibility Center that we do offer dual credit courses, and that those are those are not electives, that those are actually the course, the standard courses that you would need. Again, on a case-by-case thing, we can always contact your college and double check. And I would absolutely double check. So we don't want to mess up your future because you are trying to get ahead in high school and in college. Excuse me, phone was doing something. What does a dual credit look like? Online learning, sometimes it's more difficult with less communication or different communication. You don't have face-to-face communication. So you can't see tone of voice, or you can't see pauses in conversation. It's all done via writing, and that can be a little bit difficult. So communication by professor is done via email. So it's definitely important for students to check their email frequently. I would even say daily after registering for a class. And that's their K-12 account, and also their email that they have from the college. So if you're taking a USD course, check your USD email. So just checking your email is a good habit to get into anyway. So coursework is completed independently and typically guided by a syllabus. So one of the biggest things that I could tell a student to do, and I do this every year, is look at your syllabus, get a planner, write down when each of the assignments are due or when your tests are, so that you can be prepared and know ahead of time, like, oh, next week I have a test. All right, okay, I need to start studying for that said test. Perfect. That is huge. That is key. And that's all on you. It's independently. independently done. Tests are proctored by your study hall teacher, and if need be, like Mr. Schoenfeld or I could help you proctor that test as well, but you'd have to make an appointment with us, and it'd probably be like a Friday school thing. For your study hall teacher, you see them every single day, so if you want to take a test at any given point in the day, you will see that study hall teacher, so that's why we do it that way. And so we just make sure that you are being monitored and not cheating. That's really it. That's what proctored exam is stating, is that you are being monitored by someone that's certified to monitor you and make sure that you are not looking at any of your notes or somehow looking at like a different two computers at once or something. So it's proctored. Questions should be asked by the student to the professor by email or by phone. I will state over and over that talking to a person in person is the best way, of course, but when you're taking dual credit classes, you can't really reach your dual credit teachers in person. So the best form of communication is if you can get them on the phone. Email is never the best communication starter. I mean, we do it because we have to in a pinch, but the best is trying to get a hold of them by phone. And on their syllabus, they'll say when they have office hours, and you can always leave a message with them and say, here's my phone number, could you please call me back? And you can, when you're in study hall, you can easily just say, hey, study hall teacher, I am hoping to get a phone call from my dual credit advisor or my dual credit teacher. Can I have my phone on my desk so that if a phone call comes through, I can answer it? And we understand, we get that. That is hugely important for you to be able to do, and it can be done inside of school. Or there are times where you can come to my office and we can do that together as well. So that happens quite frequently. If you ever need to be in contact with your professor or about a grade, or maybe something else is going on and you're not able to, a program isn't working and you just need to talk to the professor about it. Oops. I wanted to go back and say, I'm always available to help direct students, but I cannot make the contact on their behalf. I have to have the student there with me. So if need be, we do make a phone call together. And that's just also something that we can work on together. I know I personally still do sometimes have like fear of contacting anyone, a superior, on the phone. And it's terrifying when you haven't done it in the past. So I'm there for you to help guide you, and also to help just kind of be an emotional support there for you in making phone calls and those serious phone calls. So for Viborg Hurley High School, students can take a maximum of 9 dual credits per semester, which usually equates to like 3 courses on average. Now, first-time dual credit learners are encouraged to take only 1 or 2 dual credit courses just to adjust to the process, to like get your feet a little bit wet, to ease into the process. And now in order to register for college math or a college English course, your ACT has to be an 18 for English and your ACT has to be a 20 for math, or your Smarter Balance course or your Smarter Balance testing has to be a level 3 or 4. But that's juniors at the end of their junior year, they take the Smarter Balance. And this year for spring of 2020, because of the pandemic, none of the juniors did take the Smarter Balance test. So that'll be something a little bit different that we'll have to do on a case-by-case situation. And also ACT was postponed too. So because of the pandemic, we're just kind of having some issues with that, and we'll work through it, and the colleges are kind of going to work with us as well. But for right now, I would say avoid math and English for right now until you have like your ACT scores completed. Now, college courses were 3 credits at the college level will be granted a half credit, which is just 1 semester at the high school level. I'll say that again. So any college courses that are a semester at a college level will give you 1 semester of high school credit. Now, replacement courses. So more bang for your buck, right? Two birds, one stone. That's the best options that you can have for your dual credit courses. So there are some dual credit courses that may replace your high school courses. And this is determined by administration. And I'll talk to you about which courses we at Viber Curly accept as two birds, one stone. However, the majority of dual credit courses taken will just be high school electives. So replacement courses that we have seen and use a lot is 12th grade composition class. You can take a college composition class. 12th grade literature class, British literature instead. You can take intro literature on a college level. Your senior, an upper level math class basically could be college algebra. We see that often. As juniors, we see a lot of students take U.S. history both semesters. There's two different U.S. histories, U.S. history 151 and history 152 at a college level, and a lot of students take both of those. And so then you wouldn't have to take Viber Curley's U.S. history course then. And also American government. If you take a dual credit government class, then you don't have to take Viber Curley's government class, because generally college classes are meant to be more difficult than high school courses. So we're not going to make you take two government classes when you're going to learn basically the same stuff and probably, hopefully, more in depth from a dual credit course. Last one is the state requires you to take economics or personal finance. At Viber Curly, we only offer personal finance as a senior, sometimes junior, but mostly senior. If you take an economics class, so Econ 201, that can take place of your personal finance your senior year of college, or senior year of high school, senior year of high school. And so I can talk to you on a more one-on-one basis if that did not make any sense, but you want most bang for your buck. You want two birds, one stone, one high school course taken down, and also one college course that you have to take completed. So two birds, one stone. That's the ideal situation, right? Now, high school transcripts and dual credits. We as Viber Curly have decided that because these classes you don't have to take them, and because they generally are more difficult than Viber Curly classes, we have weighted our grading scale. So for example, if you get an A, it's on a 4.5 grading scale instead of a 4.0. If you get a B, it's a 3.5, a C, 2.5, and a D, a 1.5. Now, we have had situations where if you drop after the deadline for the high school, the principal will either place you in an online class, or you can get an F put on your high school transcript. Now, of course, no one wants an F on their high school transcript. So majority of the time you'll talk to Mr. Jensen, and then he will then walk you through what he would like you to do to recover from dropping after the deadline for a dual credit course. Just quick note, if a student drops a course after the deadline, money will not be refunded at the college level. So there's a certain withdrawal date that they say, you can withdraw at this point and you can still get your money back. Or you can get a certain portion of your money back, like 80% or so much back. Biggest thing is, if you know that you need these courses and you're doing well in these courses, it's not an issue. But if you're struggling with a course and you think that you should drop it, we can absolutely talk about that, your parents, and I. That's case-by-case scenario. And that these are not meant to, and this is a lot of information, I know, and it's not meant to scare you or deter you from taking dual credits, but it is a big step, and it is something we want you to take seriously as well. And I want you to know all this information ahead of time. So South Dakota high school athletics and activities eligibility. Your grades from an enrollment in dual credit courses will be factored into your eligibility for high school athletics and activities. So we need to make sure that you are doing well in those courses. Yeah. And that is going to be definitely a one-on-one conversation with Mr. Jensen or Mr. Schoenfeld as the athletic director as well. Biggest thing, we want you to succeed, and these grades do matter at the high school. So completion of course requirements. Students are responsible for completing the course requirements of all dual credit courses. This includes attending dual credit classes even when the high school is not in session. So that's a big deal. Every once in a while, like our school will have a day off and at a random time, like on a Friday because of like state basketball. Well, if you're in a college class, you still have to do the college work for that week. So you are responsible to know when your class is meeting, when you still have homework for your course. So it's your responsibility. Communication with the student is done via email. So again, I'm going to hit hard. It is important to check your college email daily. Also check your K-12 emails daily just to get all that information as much as possible. Professors do not provide any student data or any other official grades to Viborg-Hurley High School except the end grade, or they sometimes flag a person if they have a low enough grade, and so that we then check in on you. But it's all private stuff. Which courses should I take? So this is the most important part. So if I've bored you enough with all the technicalities, here is where we talk about what courses you should take. Most bang for your buck, right? 2 birds, 1 stone, as much as possible. So you can go to the course registration information found at SD My Life, and it'll talk to you about what kind of dual credits interest you. I'm actually going to talk more about the generals that a university has for you in a little bit here. Choose classes that interest you, that count towards Viborg-Hurley graduation credits as well as your college electives or your college requirements. Fulfill the South Dakota Board of Regents or Opportunity Scholarship. You want to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck, right? And maybe align with your specific college major or your minor. So, sorting through these choices, there's a lot of choices. Upon high school graduation, if students plan on attending a public South Dakota Board of Regents school, they must complete what are called the System General Education Required courses. So it's basically, these are the courses that you have to take something in. There's 6 different areas of courses that they force every single student to have at a university. So we're going to go through each of those sections because if you haven't heard of it, SGRs, I wouldn't know what they are either. So we're going to talk about them. These are the courses we tend to have students take, as they are universal for many colleges, and many technical schools use similar courses. So these are the ones we really stress hard on. These are the courses that are basically you take in your first year or 2 at a college. Each South Dakota university has, it says here, 7 goals that each student must meet. Really, there's 6 of them. The 7th one is kind of already hit within the first 6, so I didn't even talk about the 7th one. Note, while these goals are the same, the courses that fulfill the goals may vary from university to university. For example, when I was in high school, I took a Business 101 class from USD, and then I went to SDSU. And when I went to SDSU, they recognized that I had taken Business 101, but for them, they didn't have that same course. So they're like, what is Business 101? That doesn't mean anything to me. And so they accepted it as a business course because it had the business BUS 101 was what it was called. And so they accepted it as a business course, but they didn't know necessarily what it was, and they didn't know the standards that it hit. So it didn't hit any goals. It became an elective, basically. It still counted, and it still was transferred, but it didn't count as like any business courses that I had to take for getting my business minor. So hopefully, if you'd want to ask more about that, you absolutely can. It's much easier to talk in stories than in just hypotheticals, words that, we need to hear stories with them. So we're going to talk about the 6 SGR goals, the general goals that have to be hit when you go to a university. Your SGR goal number 1 is your written communication. So students, this is just the standard that gets met. Students will write effectively and responsibly and will understand and interpret the written expression of others. So you have to take 6 credits, which is basically equivalent to 2 courses. Courses that meet this goal are generally the top 2 right here, Composition 1 and Composition 2. Now in certain majors, and we'll look at specific majors per person, of course, if you're going to be an engineering program, they're going to want you to take a technical writing and engineering. They might actually have you take composition as well. Or if you're in a business program, they're going to probably want you to take a business writing course, because those are different skill sets that you'll want to have after your college experience. So generally, I have people take Composition 1 for sure, because every major needs that. I shouldn't say every, but 99.9% of majors in South Dakota are going to ask you to take a composition writing course. That's what that means. Composition is writing. So each course listed above is 3 credits. So that's the first goal. So that's really just like, here's your English goal, right? Your second goal, similar. It's your oral communication. They want to make sure that students are able to communicate effectively and responsibly through listening and speaking with each other. So speech, that's the biggest one. Majority of people take speech. Certain majors will have you take public speaking as well, or argumentation and debate. That would be for, goodness, I don't even know, just different like public speaking type of majors. And majority of majors will have you take fundamentals of speech. So I'd see a lot of juniors and seniors, high school juniors and seniors, taking speech 101, fundamentals of speech. So that's the course goal number 2. Number 3, it's your social studies or social sciences and diversity courses. Students will understand the organization, potential, and diversity of the human communication through study of the social sciences. You need 6 credits in 2 different disciplines. That means if you're going to take a one history course, and it starts with HIST, like here, down here, the history 151. Oops, I gotta go back to that. History 151. History 152 will not count because they both start with the same history. HIST, they both start with the same. So that would not be in 2 different disciplines. That would be the same discipline. Same with like psychology, general psychology. You take psychology 101, and then you take psychology in the workplace, or psychology for women's psychology. I have no idea. There's all sorts of psychology classes out there. Those are in the same discipline. So they're wanting you to be diversified, basically. So you want to take 2 different disciplines and 2 credits in each. And these are just your generals that every single university student has to take. So previous Viber Curley high school students have taken general psychology, intro to sociology, intro to criminal justice. History 151 and 152 is U.S. history. We get a lot of juniors taking both of those because they end up having the same professor. And once you know one professor, and if you get a good grade from that professor, people tend to want to take that professor again, because it's, less like, ooh, am I going to get a professor that's more difficult? No, you probably get the same professor. So we do get a lot of people taking history 151 and 152. You don't have to, because as you can see, they're from the same discipline. So it's not hitting as many, like 2 birds, 1 stone type of situation, but it still is going to be an elective on your college transcript. A lot of people take political science, U.S. government, because in high school you need to take a government class, and then also in college, if you take that, then if you take a government class, then you are going to be 3 more credits closer to getting your SGR number 3 goal. And lastly, we've had a lot of people take principles of microeconomics, because that also hits the high school requirements of personal finance. So each course above is 3 credits. That's SGR goal number 3. SGR goal number 4 is humanities and arts and diversity. So the colleges want students to understand the diversity and complexity of a human experience through study of arts and humanities. Again, they're going to want you to have 6 credits in 2 different disciplines or a sequence of foreign language. So saying like if you take Spanish 1, you can take Spanish 2, and that is your full SGR goal number 4. Examples that Fiber Curly students have taken in the past is art appreciation. I actually should put on there film appreciation. That was another good one that people really enjoyed taking. You just kind of watched films and then did whatever to appreciate it. Probably wrote papers and on why it was great, a great film piece. Music appreciation is a huge one that people tend to take. A lot of people say that they prefer music, rock and roll, music appreciation instead of like music appreciation classical. So there's different like sections of music appreciation. So there's like classical, there's jazz, there's rock and roll. A lot of people tend to like the rock and roll course the best. Intro to theater, that's also a course that people have taken. And intro to mass communications, we've had some great success this last year with intro to mass communications. Each of those are 3 credits. So that's SGR goal number 4. SGR goal number 5 is a mathematics course. Now, if you're going into any math or science field, I tell students that are going into a math or science field to not even look at this at a high school level. You will want to look at what you are thinking, like what your major is. Like if it's pre-med, we want to look at what pre-med classes you'll need and what school you're going to. So a lot of people tend to take, and here's what they want you to have for mathematics. They want you to understand and apply fundamental mathematical processes and reasoning. So that's a general. Every single person has to, at a college level, has to take SGR number 5, which is at least 1 math credit or 1 math class, 3 credits. Majority of people end up taking college algebra. And look, as you see there, there's a huge list of different courses that you could take. And there's a little note at the bottom of there that this is determined by South Dakota Board of Regents placement policy, and then that's just a state law. Lastly, course goal number 6 is your sciences. They want you to understand the fundamental principles of natural sciences and apply scientific methods of inquiry to investigate the natural world. They want you to have 6 credits of science, and that usually equates to 2 science classes. So there's a huge, large list of this, and they tend to be a little bit more difficult because a lab is required. How do you do a lab without having lab equipment? It's pretty difficult, but I have had people in the past take biology class. If you're doing an online course, that is not true. It says that students may need to attend. That is true. They may need to attend campus for this lab, but some people have taken zoology. That was that was pretty more intensive course, and they didn't have to go to the college to take the lab per se, but it was still an intensive course. We have had a lot of people take biology, the lower end biology course, and so that has been, from what I've heard, and I'll quote, very weird because I'm in my kitchen trying to do experiments and with different little kits, and it is weird. So like that is what someone had said in the past. They said it wasn't terribly difficult, it was just very strange sitting in their kitchen trying to do an experiment. Notes that if you're going to take a science credit or dual credit, you have to take both the lab and the classroom class to get credit. I will talk to you if you're going to be doing a science class, how to do that. It's not hard. It's just a technicality that they need to have you do. So choosing dual credit courses that meet the South Dakota or the SGRs, the 1 through 6 there goals, and also meet requirements for college graduation may vary according to your major. So if you have declared a major, it is helpful to find the program advising guide sheet to assist you with course selections. And so when we talk, you and I talk about, if you say, well, I want to go into media and journalism, I would pull up and I want to specifically go to USD. I would pull up USD. I would type in like what major you want to go into. And if it was media and journalism, they have like a advising guide as to what you should take each semester. See, there's like a 4-year program right here, and what courses you should take. And then we'll look at that together, and then we'll decide what courses to take. So it's a one-on-one type of thing. So it's hard for me to say every single student should take a speech class. Every single person should take this. No, I really go individually. What does your future look like? I'm going to advise you from there, what you want your future to look like, what you want to take at a college level. There's program guide sheets, links here, and you guys can click on that. Also, dual credit from a technical school. If you plan to attend a tech school rather than a 4-year college, you can enroll in their dual credit courses or transfer courses from a 4-year college. Caution, tech schools classes with a T behind their description will absolutely transfer to a 4-year college, but a lot of others will not. So what I tend to say, rule of thumb, is don't take technical school class courses unless you are going into that specific technical school. So I would not take an STI class unless you know for a fact that you're going to STI, because sometimes even STI courses don't transfer over to Lake Area Tech. And we just want to be as cautious as possible. This is your future and this is your money. We don't want to mess it up for you. So there's a link below to see if your tech school dual credit will transfer to a South Dakota Board of Regents 4-year or vice versa. So there's another link that you can check into. Dual credit courses require daily reading and studying and excellent organizational skills. So definitely self-management. So there's some pros and cons, and you need to be very independent. Your study hall teacher and and the principal and the tech coordinator, we're all here to help you, but a lot of it is independent studies. So make sure that you have the ability to self-manage. It challenges students to develop and use critical thinking skills and in-depth analysis and comprehension. It also requires students to be more responsible for their own learning, i.e. complete the paperwork for your approved proctor for the exams, corresponding with a professor, etc. And so that can kind of be a deterrent for some people, and that's okay. Like, if it is definitely more difficult trying to communicate with a professor when you're not face-to-face with them, and that is completely understandable. So I'm not trying to, there's a lot of benefits, but I also want you to look at, sometimes it might not be for everyone. How do you register? Step 1, meet with me to discuss whether you meet the requirements for dual credit courses and which course would be most appropriate for you. Step 2, you can view the course offerings and complete the registration form. And there's a form at sdmylife.com. And then you return the registration form to Ms. Schmidt, me. Or there's an online version too, instead of just like the written form. Step 3, I will send in your registration sheet and transcript to that college or tech school. Step 4, you will receive an email from the college and get registered. And then step 5, you pay for it. So there's 5 quote unquote easy steps there. But it begins with you get help from me or like your college institution. You want to make sure that you talk to someone and make sure you're taking the appropriate classes. Frequently asked questions. I know I'm getting kind of long-winded here, but I want to make sure that I'm hitting everything as much as possible. If there's any questions for anyone that weren't able to come to the dual credit night. So should I include payment with my registration? No. Wait until 2 weeks into the course, see if you like the course. If you're not going to drop it, then you pay. Don't pay ahead of time, because what if you drop the course before the course even starts? So they'll tell you when to pay. It's not right away. It's not when you register. Don't worry about that. It's after you register. It's a good question. If my high school doesn't have school, but the college tech schools do I need to participate even if it's an online class? Absolutely. That is where, if we had talked about like, oh, hey, what if we're not at school because we're going to college basketball or something, but the college classes are still happening. You still have to attend those college classes. Third, if I don't pay my bill, am I automatically dropped from the class? Usually they do not do that. However, they really have every right to do that to you. They'll probably give you like plenty of emails saying, hey, we're still waiting on this information. Hey, we're still waiting on this information. Or not more on this information, on this money we're giving, give us our money, basically. They will get the money from you somehow, promise. Because it's a business. They're gonna, there's a whole like, there's a bunch of people that their job is literally to just collect money from students that haven't paid their bills yet. Fourth question, what if I register for a class and then change my mind? No problem. That's actually fairly easy. We fill out an add drop form and we switch courses. We just really have to hope that the courses are still available. We want to courses fill up pretty quickly, especially the popular ones like music appreciation, rock and roll, that fills up very quickly. So we really want you to apply sooner than later, right? And if you're going to add or drop a class, we want to do it sooner than later. If I drop a class before the add drop date, will I receive a refund? Yes, you will. If it's before the add drop date, you will absolutely receive that refund. And even when you withdraw, might be next question. If I withdraw from a class, will this affect my future financial aid? Not unless you withdraw from at least six courses. Okay, so there's a thing where when you're at college, you're able to withdraw. You'll still have to pay for that course, but if you withdraw from a course, you can have 6 W's. What are they called? That's what they're called. Withdraws on your college transcript. That's kind of just to protect people who want to have like straight A's to get into a graduate program. You can take a W instead of, oh, I have an F in this course, or, oh, something's happening in my life. Someone had recently passed away and I have to drop out of my courses because I'm no longer able to attend courses. That happened to me once. And so I had a couple of W's on my report card. It's not a big deal at all. But if you have more than 6 W's on your report card, then that's the maximum amount that they'll give you. And then every class after that, you just have to take the grade that they give you. Is there a limit on the dual credit courses I can take? Yes. You cannot take more than 9 credits, which is just 3 classes. That's a max. And as juniors, we have you kind of ease into it, like put your toes into the water, see if you like it, kind of thing. And we would prefer you to only take 1 or 2 dual credits. If I withdraw from a class, will it affect my future financial aid? No, it should not affect you at all. It will just cost you money. That's all. And it'll have a W on your report card, on your college report card, I should state that. And you can only have 6 W's on your report card in your college career. All right. If you have any further questions, I know this is very long and I'm sorry sorry, but not sorry, I guess. I wanted to give you as much information as possible. You can always come to me and ask me any further questions via email or contact me on the phone. I'm here to help. I want to help you. This is one of my favorite parts of my job is I want to set you up for your future career. So please contact me. And that is the end of my slideshow. So it's probably been a hefty amount of time, but let me know if you have any questions and I will upload this online. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.